Hello friends, welcome to EPG Pathshala. Today we'll learn about Human Development Index in India. I am Dr. Diksha Bajpai Tiwari from Department of Geography, Dayal Singh College, University of Delhi. We'll be learning about the Human Development Index today. The learning objectives are to understand the concept of human development, the approach associated, the relevance of human development, to understand the concept of Human Development Index, to also understand the relevance of the various components that constitute Human Development Index. We will know about Human Development of Index of India and of the various states. We will understand how HDI has changed over a period of time. Human development is the process of enlarging people's choices. The ethos of planning in India has always been people-centric. However, introduction of the human development approach and the paradigm in the planning mechanism ensured that the focus of human development in the growth process. As the country was opening up its economy in the 1990s, this central position was essential for policy planners to continue focusing on people who may be excluded from the market-oriented growth. Additionally, it is extremely essential to incorporate human development into the planning processes, the mechanisms, and the paradigm, so that people can be empowered to hold their governments to account and governments can be encouraged to be responsive to the needs of the people. This was stated to be the goal in the United Nations Development Programme in the year 2010. Thus, in 1990s, UNDP gave a call for a broad approach to improving human well-being that would cover all aspects of human life for all people in both high-income and developing countries, both now and in the future. It went far beyond narrowly defined economic development to care for the full flourishing of all human choices essential for improving the quality of life. For a large country like India, the utility of study of human development is enhanced once the exercises are attempted at the state level. Apart from the diversity, an important reason for establishing a benchmark and subsequent follow-up on different aspects of human welfare at the state level is due to the dominant role played by the states in social sectors in the country. Human development approach for decades, countries' levels of welfare were measured in terms of economic growth and measured through GDP or an increase in per capita GDP. While this approach has the advantage of being straightforward and easy to use, the failure of economic growth to improve the well-being of a significant proportion of population in many countries has underscored the need for a more encompassing measure that also captures human development. Please understand that people are at the center of development. The concept of human development emerged in the late 1980s based on the conceptual foundation provided by Dr. Amartya Sen and Dr. Mahbubul Haq. The human development approach puts people at the center of development agenda, where economic growth and wealth are considered means to development, not an end by itself. Put simply, the starting point for the human development approach is the idea that the purpose of development is to improve human lives by not only enhancing income, but also expanding the range of things that a person can be and can do, such as be healthy and well-nourished, be knowledgeable, and to participate in community life. Seen from this viewpoint, development is about removing the obstacles to what a person can do in life, obstacles such as lack of income, illiteracy, ill health, lack of access to resources, or lack of civil and political freedom. The first Human Development Report defined human development as a process of enlarging people's choices to lead a long and healthy life, to be educated, and to enjoy a decent standard of living are the three most critical choices identified in the first Human Development Report. Additional choices include political freedom, guaranteed human rights, and self-respect. History of the concept. Although the rediscovery of the concept is about 30 years old, interest in this subject is not new. Today's belated return to human development means reclaiming an old and established heritage rather than importing and implanting a new diversion. We will also have to understand that human development, the conception or the concept and the words used are new, but the concept and the conception and the idea is an old one. The roots of the concept of human development can be traced to early periods in human history and can be found in many cultures and religions. The idea that social arrangements must be judged by the extent to which they promote human goods dates at least back to Aristotle, years 384 to 322 BC. In ancient Greece, Aristotle argued that wealth is evidently not the good we are seeking, for it is merely useful for the sake of something else. Immanuel Kant continued the tradition of treating human beings as the real end of all activities. And when Adam Smith showed his concern that economic development should enable a person to mix freely with others without being ashamed to appear in public, he was expressing a concept of poverty that went beyond counting calories, a concept that integrated the poor into the mainstream of the community. This inclusion is essential to the concept of human development. However, during the post-Second World War era, the development agenda centered on growth rather than human well-being. The focus was on accumulation of physical capital through savings and investments for promoting industrial development and growth in the war-torn economies. The economic growth paradigm neglected important aspects of development such as income inequalities, unemployment, and disparities in access to public goods and services such as health and education. By the late 1960s and early 1970s, a general shift in the development debate started to take place, where more emphasis was put on social development rather than capital accumulation and growth. The basic needs approach was introduced, putting the basic needs of people such as access to basic education, basic health care, food, nutrition, water and sanitation on the agenda. Fulfillment of these basic needs was seen as a prerequisite for development. In 1990, human development was given a firmer conceptual, quantitative and policy focus through the publication of the first Global Human Development Report. Human development combined the capabilities and basic needs approach, which a greater emphasis on the ability of human beings to lead the lives that they aspire to and the enhancement of the substantive choices that they have. The human development framework is anchored in the idea that while economic prosperity may help people lead freer and more fulfilling lives, education and health, among other factors, influence the quality of people's freedoms. Human development helps people to lead more healthy, lengthy, and a knowledgeable life. Human Development Index. The first Human Development Report in 1990 introduced a new way of measuring development by combining indicators of life expectancy, educational attainment, and income into a composite human development index called the HDI. The components are measured by 4 variables, the first one being GDP per capita, measured in terms of US dollars, literacy rates in percentage, combined gross enrollment ratio, and life expectancy at birth. The composite index results in a figure between 0 and 1, of which 1 indicates high level of human development and 0 being no level of human development. The formulation of the HDI as a measure of human development was based on many objectives, with the following of paramount importance. First one was develop indicators that measure the basic dimensions of human development and the enlargement of people's choices. Please keep in mind that these were the objectives with which HDI was measured and devised, to make use of a limited number of indicators to keep the measure simple, to devise a composite index rather than an excessive number of separate indices, so that there is a comparability of data and the countries can be compared on the same level, to create a measure that covers both economic and social choices, to ensure a flexible measure subject to gradual refinement as analytical critiques emerge, and also to rank countries with the index to advocate for data relevant to human development policies and investments in data collection and analysis. The index as it is currently measured is very basic, consisting of the following dimensions: a long and healthy life measured by life expectancy at birth, knowledge measured by adult literacy rate, and the combined gross enrollment ratio at primary, secondary and tertiary levels, and access to resources or a decent standard of living measured by GDP per capita in purchasing power parity PPP US dollar terms. We will now see how the Human Development Index is calculated. Following are the steps involved. There are two steps to calculating the HDI. Step 1, creating the dimension indices. Minimum and maximum values, goalposts as they are called, are set in order to transform the indicators into indices between 0 and 1. The maximums are the highest observed values in the time series 1980 to 2012. The minimum values can be appropriately conceived of as subsistence values. The minimum values are set at 20 years for life expectancy, at 0 years for both education variables, and at $100 for per capita gross national income GNI. The low value for income can be justified by the considerable amount of unmeasured subsistence and non-market production which are involved in economies close to the minimum, not captured in the official data. Having defined the minimum and maximum values, the sub-indices are calculated as follows. For education, equation 1 is applied to each of the following subcomponents, then a geometric mean of the resulting indices is created, and finally equation 1 is reapplied to the geometric mean of the indices using 0 as the minimum, and the highest geometric for education equation 1 is applied to each of the two subcomponents. Then a geometric mean of the resulting indices is created, and finally equation 1 is reapplied to the geometric mean of the indices using 0 as the minimum and the highest geometric mean of the resulting indices for the time period under consideration as the maximum. This is equivalent to applying equation 1 directly to the geometric mean of the two subcomponents. As we can see in the figure, these aspects would be more clear to you. Because each dimension index is a proxy for capabilities in the corresponding dimension, the transformation function from income to capabilities is likely to be concave. Thus, for income, the natural logarithm of the actual minimum and maximum values is used. The second step in calculating the HDI is aggregating the sub-indices to produce the Human Development Index, which is a composite figure. The HDI is the geometric mean of the three-dimension indices. 1/3 of this index is life, another 1/3 is education, and the last 1/3 belongs to income. We will now study what are the components of Human Development Index in India. We measure knowledge through literacy, literacy level and educational attainment These are the vital indicators of development in a society. Attainment of universal primary education is one of the Millennium Development Goals of the United Nations to be achieved by the year earlier 2015, now 2030. Educational development are considered to be key variables affecting demographic indicators like fertility, mortality, especially the infant mortality, and migration. It greatly contributes in improving quality of life, particularly with regard to life expectancy, infant mortality, learning levels, and nutritional levels of children. Higher levels of literacy and educational development lead to greater awareness on the one hand and help people in acquiring new skills on the other. Literacy is critical for promoting and communicating sustainable development and improving the capacity of people to address environment and development issues. It facilitates the achievement of environmental and ethical awareness, values and skills consistent with sustainable development, and effective public participation in decision-making process. This indicator provides a measure of the stock of literate persons within the adult population who are capable of using written words in daily life and to continue to learn. It reflects the accumulated accomplishment of education in spreading literacy. Any shortfall in literacy would provide indications of efforts required in the future to extend literacy to the remaining adult illiterate population. The number of literates and illiterates aged 7 and above in India, as per the provisional population totals of census of 2011, were over 7 crores and 272 lakhs respectively. It has been a marked improvement in the proportion of literates in the last decades. Literates in 2011 constituted 74% of the total population aged 7 and above, as compared to 65% in 2001. On the other hand, illiterates form 26% of the total population in 2011 as compared to 35% in 2001. In India, between 1980 and 2013, mean years of schooling increased by 2.5 years and expected years of schooling increased by 5.3 years. The national average of mean years of schooling is 4.10 years. All states, with the exception of economically weaker and poorer states of Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Odisha and Uttar Pradesh, including the newly formed states of Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand and Uttarakhand and Assam, fare as good as or even better than the nation as a whole in the sub-index of education dimension. Kerala performs exceptionally well with a figure of 6.19 years. It is followed by Maharashtra and Punjab at 5.12 years. School life expectancy or expected years of schooling is defined as the number of years of schooling that a child of school entrance age can expect to receive if prevailing patterns of age-specific enrollment rates were to stay the same throughout the child's life. This is what the definition given by UNDP in the year 2010. Estimates for states in India are made taking into account age-specific enrollment rates for the age group 6 to 18 years, both inclusive. The national average for expected years of schooling is 9.62 years. Kerala again leads the pack with 11.33 years expected years of schooling. It is followed by Himachal Pradesh 11.05, Tamil Nadu 10.57 and Uttarakhand 10.23. Long and healthy life is measured through life expectancy at birth. This indicator shows the expected years that an individual born will live. The importance of this indicator is that it gives an indication about the kind of health services and amenities available to population. The lower value of life expectancy implies either the health services provided are not sufficient or the work undertaken in life leads to reduction in the years that a person lives. Mortality with fertility and migration determines the size of human population, their composition by age and sex, and the population's potential for future growth. Life expectancy, a basic indicator, is closely connected with health condition, which are in turn an integral part of development. The Program of Action of the International Conference on Population and Development (ICPD) noted that the unprecedented increase in human longevity reflects gains in public health and in access to primary health care services. This is taken from paragraph 8.1 and 8.2, which Agenda 21 recognizes as an integral part of sustainable development and primary environmental care. Again taken from paragraph 6.1. The ICPD Program of Action highlights the need to reduce disparities in mortality and morbidity among countries and between socio-economic and ethnic groups. It identifies the health effects of environmental degradation and exposure to hazardous substances in the workplace as issues of increasing concern. Life expectancy is included as a basic indicator of health and social development in and among others, the Millennium National Social Data Set, endorsed by the United Nations Statistical Commission at the 29th session in 1997, the Human Development Index, the UNDG CCA indicator set and the OECD DAC core indicators. In India, the life expectancy at birth for male was 62.6 years as compared to females 64.2 years according to 2002 to 2006 estimates. Urban male 67.1 years, urban female 70 years have longer lifespan as compared to their rural counterparts. The life expectancy in Kerala is the highest at 74 years and the lowest is in Madhya Pradesh with 58 years. The income component is measured through decent standard of living, GNI per capita. Income provides maternal wealth, which opens up avenues for enhancing the capabilities. Income may not directly lead to a better life, but it certainly improves the standard of living and also gives freedom to make choices in life. It is an important aspect of any human development strategy. Globally, it is important to use standard indicators to calculate the HDI for cross-country comparisons. At the national level, available sub-national data should guide the choice of indicators. Per capita income from household surveys can be used instead of GDP per capita. Gross domestic product, GDP, is the monetary value of goods and services produced in a country irrespective of how much is retained in the country. Gross national income, GNI, expresses the income accrued to residents of a country, including international flows such as remittances and aid, and excluding income generated in the country but repatriated abroad. Thus, GNI is a more accurate measure of a country's economic welfare. Gross national product contributes to human development through household and government activity, community organizations, and non-governmental organizations, NGOs. The same level of GNP can lead to a very different human development performance depending on the allocation of GNP to various groups and to distribution within each category. The propensity of households to spend their income on items which contribute most directly to the promotion of human development, for example, food, potable water, education and health, varies depending on the level and distribution of income across households, as well as on who controls the allocation of expenditure within the households. In general, as the income of the poor rise, the proportion of income spent on human development increases. This is a view given by Behrman in the year 1999 and 1996. we'll talk about the composite development profile of India. Human Development Index in India in the year 2013 was 0.586. This is in the medium human development category of countries. India ranks 135 out of 187 countries and territories. Between 1980 and 2013, India's HDI value increased from 0.396 to 0.586, an increase of 58.7% or an average annual increase of 1.41%. India's 2013 HDI of 0.586 is below the average of 0.614 for countries in the medium human development group and below the average of 0.588 for countries in South Asia. From South Asia, countries which are close to India in 2013 HDI rank and to some extent in population size are Bangladesh and Pakistan, which have HDIs ranked 142 and 146 respectively. The major states are distributed between the categories of countries with medium and low human development as per the Human Development Report 2013 classification. Kerala with a global HDI of 0.625 is in the medium HDI category. Other major states in this group are Punjab, Himachal Pradesh, Haryana, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Gujarat, West Bengal and Uttarakhand. 9 other states, namely Andhra Pradesh, Assam, Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, Jharkhand, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Bihar and Odisha fall in the low HDI category. While India is ranked 135 out of 169 countries in the global HDI, our estimates for different states range from 101 for the state of Kerala, whose global HDI estimate places it between Philippines and the Republic of Moldova, to 152 for Odisha, whose global HDI estimate places it between Myanmar and Yemen. The HDI was created to emphasize that people and their capabilities should be the ultimate criteria for assessing the development of a country, not economic growth alone. The HDI can also be used to question national policy choices, asking how two countries with the same level of GNI per capita can end up with different human development outcomes. These contrasts can stimulate debate about government policy priorities. The Human Development Index, or the HDI, is a summary measure of average achievement in key dimensions of human development, a long and healthy life, being knowledgeable, and have a decent standard of living. The HDI is the geometric mean of normalized indices for each of the 3 dimensions. Central to the human development approach is the concept of capabilities. Capabilities, what people can do and what they can become, are the equipment one has to pursue a life of value. Basic capabilities valued by virtually everyone include good health, access to knowledge, and a decent material standard of living. Other capabilities central to a fulfilling life could include the ability to participate in the decisions that affect one's life, to have control over one's living environment, to enjoy freedom from violence, to have societal respect, and to relax and have fun. Other capabilities central to a fulfilling life could include the ability to participate in the decisions that affect one's life, to have control over one's living environment, to enjoy freedom from violence, to have societal respect, and to relax and to have fun. Thank you.